All right.
Yeah.
Hi, guys, and good
Hello,
morning,
hello.
United States. Good evening, Europe, and good night, Asia, Asia and Japan. Welcome to Wet Vibes live session. And this session is going to be very, very special. Two reasons. First, and the biggest one, that your life can, let's say, not probably your life, but your professional career can change after you will listen to Alex in the insights, and it probably will change, of course, for better. And you can book the biggest wedding of your season, the biggest wedding of your career. And the second reason, this is the first time we invited as a speaker our graduate from our marketing school, Alex West. And he applied everything that Alex from Wet Vibes taught, how to start Instagram ads and how to make it really proven strategy. And he actually succeeded. And not only succeeded, but Alex was so kind and generous to hop on this live session and share everything that he learned. So today it will be very, let's say, actionable session where Alex just will walk through what he've done, what works, what don't work, and how you can apply for yourself. So again, this session can change your life, your professional career for before and after. And before we
So,
start,
Alex, no pressure for you.
no pressure. Yeah.
You're
But if
changing the
okay, and
lives.
but if it doesn't work out, it means you did something wrong.
Yeah,
Uh, you
absolutely.
just need to do everything right, like Alex will teach you. Yeah, but actually we had one-on-one calls with a lot of, I think, a lot of you guys and other members. And yes, the economy is pretty challenging, and some of you have a booking dips, and it's not easy as it was, I don't know, 5 7 years before to book the client. But we always say, Daria, me and Alex, we always say that Instagram ads, it's the one controllable tool. Once you figure out how it works, you can control it, and you can basically secure the amount of bookings you want and attract the couples you want to work with. All right, so I see that you started already sending hi into the chat. I will ask
They
you
know the drill.
not only say hi, but introduce yourself, because it will help also better understand who joined today. Please put in the chat your name, your profession, and where you're joining from. And with that, I will pass over to Alex, and he will give a better introduction to our amazing speaker, Alex. So we have two Alex.
Yeah,
Make a wish.
yeah.
Alexis.
Alex and I are balancing the gender balance here in the Zoom room. So, hi everyone, nice meeting you. I'm Alex, the marketing director at What Vibes Media, and I'm actually the guy who invited the Alex West to this session. Really excited to have it because Alex. Not only is he really successful wedding photographer, he's from Germany, but he works all across Europe with all of the coolest couples in south of France, in Italy, in all of the most sought after destinations. And he's booking them like dozens of them. So it's like he has a flow of and like a steady system that brings him these leads. And then also he's one of the students from our course, and he's been a real blessing to us because not only he's one of the most active students we had, he's also a really just open person sharing his success and also always ready to answer any of your questions if you have it. So please take the most from this session, and also feel free to reach out to Alex. I'm pretty sure he probably won't spoil all of his secrets, but
Some of
he's
them.
ready to help you, yeah, and answer some of your questions. Yeah, so with that, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. I'm passing it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you for the lovely words. Hello, everyone. Yeah, first little disclaimer. I'm from Germany, so I try my best to don't let the German accent come through, but if it happens, please don't laugh at me. So what I want to talk about today is Instagram Ads Quickstart. What do I mean by that? I mean everything that you can do beforehand, before you even touch your first campaign, and in the process of thinking about doing your first campaign, how you can do it, with which little techniques and tricks you can implement into getting a higher chance of a good performing ad, and then translating into analyzing the ad, and then afterwards improving it so that you learn from your past mistake and just like grow with each campaign and each analyzing that you are doing. We can go to the next slide. Who am I? Alex already told you a bit about myself. I will just give you a few more insight. So I'm Alex West, 28 years old, living in Germany, doing weddings all around Europe for amazing couples with that luxury editorial and fashionable style. Also, a funny background story about me that photography was my only choice that I had growing up because I was born into a family with over three generations of photography knowledge because my great-great-grandfather was a photographer, then my grandmother was a photographer, and then my father was a photographer. So I really didn't have a choice to do something else. So I just sticked with what I saw through my childhood, which was photography, and ended up with wedding photography after I did like a whole bunch of other photography stuff during my teen years. We can go to the next slide. Perfect. First of all, in terms of when we speak about Instagram ads or generally speaking about ads, there are two different approaches, and only one is the correct one, and only is the one where you don't burn your money. I think every one of you knows these little button on the bottom right under a post on Instagram which says boost posts. One little disclaimer, please never press that. You will burn your money immediately. Even though Instagram will tell you, yeah, you can just type in your interests and like different genders in terms of male or female, you can do different age groups. It never works because this one is just for Instagram to make quick money and not help you out with it. So if you want to do ads, please never do it with this tool and use the proper ads manager. You can go to the next slide. And the ads manager looks something like this, which can be confusing if you see it for the first time. Also, if you just created maybe your first ever ad account within Instagram, you could feel like you have to study rocket science to understand this whole thing. But if you look through the course, Alex already did a full-on video on how to set everything up in there. So I will don't cover it as much in this call. We will just be focusing on what you can do with your ad if you want it and what you can think about in the process beforehand. And the next slide, please. A quick little thing about mistakes I made and I have like learned from after doing these type of ads for like nearly 2 years now. There are like a few specific things in terms of, okay, could be like reasonable that was a mistake. First of all, it was for me starting out without a clear plan. What do I mean by that? I mean by that thinking about what would be my end result and my like preferred outcome when creating ads and when thinking about getting leads through and like just reaching out to customers. So I just blindly started, which was like not the best decision. But if you don't know better, doing something is better than doing nothing. So you guys are really lucky that you can now just skip this whole step of like doing mistakes and doing stuff that probably won't work, because hopefully I can give you a bit of insight on what you can avoid. Also, one thing is, please don't just do whatever you see online in terms of ads and just copying it right away, because each of us has individual dream clients and each of us has an individual brand that speaks an individual language. And you need to always have that in mind when creating your ads and when just thinking about the overall topic of like advertisement to your dream clients. Because just because something works for person A doesn't mean that it works for person B, because in the process of they creating the ad, thinking about their dream clients, there can be simple and little things that are different, and then the whole ad campaign won't work or won't give you like your dream end results. For example, I had an experience with a friend of mine. We did on the same ad campaign and we got the same exactly inquiries, which kind of means that like the whole process worked. But in the end, I was then like looking at that ad campaign and was like, for him, these clients are perfect because I just kind of copied his advertisement strategy. But then I looked through my brand and what I got out of these weddings, and I was like, it's not perfectly matching for me. So I needed to change something in order to kind of don't get the same results that he did, because my end result is completely different to his end result. One thing that I will touch on later is the point of testing, analyzing, and learning. But that was also just a mistake of just me throwing a bunch of ad creatives in there, playing with the numbers, playing with like budget, with locations and everything, without having a clue of, okay, what does happen if I increase the budget by 30%? What is happening to my reach if I remove this region, this city? And yeah, that was also a mistake I did. Just like doing whatever blindly and not like thinking about it. Then one thing, I did not trust the process. Sometimes it can take a bit longer for results to show up. And still to this date, I'm like doing this mistake sometimes, to being impatient with like my whole ad campaign, because maybe you did an ad campaign 2 months ago during the high season of like wedding bookings, and you saw like a lead come in every day or every 2 days, and then you try to manipulate the ad because you think, okay, maybe I found a better way to reach out to my dream clients because I have new photos that I can share in those ads because I did weddings. And then you start the ad and it's not high season, it's a completely different booking season, and you see that your ad is not performing as well as the last ad. And then you just can be quickly in decision making of like, okay, this ad won't work, I will just like delete it, or put it offline and just create a new one. And then you have like the same process over and over and over again, because you can't really tell if an ad is like successfully in itself if you just like switch it every 2 or 3 days or like within a week, because sometimes it will take Facebook longer to reach your dream clients, especially if you have like a relatively new ad account. What I mean by that is an ad account that didn't had that much money who was like spent on in terms of ads. So for example, 800 euros in total of spending, 2000 euros in total of spending, because with each like euro you spend, Meta will probably, if you do the settings right, understand better what's your dream end result. And of course, as more money as you give Meta, the more Meta can learn, and then the time frame will be longer. And if you then, for example, spend like, I don't know, within 3, 4 months, for example, 2000 euros in ad spend, then Meta has enough knowledge about your specific audience to then, after you then did the analyzing and testing and everything and run a new ad, to then give you the better reach in terms of finding your dream clients, and then give you better leads, if you structure it right and if you give Meta in general a bit more time. Also, one important thing, I know Dennis Brandt, a friend of mine, he's my colleague, and we just talk every day about ads. It's a complete nightmare sometimes, because we just spam each other on WhatsApp with like, how do you think about that idea? What's like with this? How can we try this? And we both are so guilty of it. I just like did the same mistake a week ago, which was never touch a running system. If it works, it works, and then it's fine, and then just leave it because it works. Why don't you want to change something that's working just to improve it? Of course, improvement is good, but if you have a good running campaign and it gets you leads, you don't need to improve it right away. What you then maybe can do is do a separate campaign, leave the good one just like running, and test it with a new one and try to figure out ways to make it even better. But never ever like do edits in a campaign that's working and it's currently online and that brings you lead, because then that sometimes means that you destroy your whole flow and your whole momentum with those Instagram ad campaigns. We can go to the next slide.
Oh, actually, before we proceed, I wanted to also chime in and add a little something to the point of not trusting the process. Even with Wet Vibes and the campaigns that we've run and the previous campaigns I ran before, I've definitely seen that just running a campaign throughout, let's say, a month or two could really bring your cost per lead down to like half of what you initially had. So sometimes it does take time for the algorithm to like learn and educate itself. Sometimes that's not how it works, but you just need to test things out and see how it works for you specifically. So yeah, just wanted to second that and confirm that that's how it works.
Perfect. Okay. I will quickly touch on the process. What for me is creating a good ad campaign, because for me it's just not like finding out metrics in terms of what I can do within my ad account. For me, it's the whole spectrum, starting off by who's my dream client? Where are they living? How old are they? What's their interest? How do they live their life? Where do they spend their holidays? And everything that just like makes a person a person. For example, a future bride that spends her summer vacation somewhere in the south of France or in Italy, but is living in New York. That's kind of an avatar that I will have in mind while creating ads. And I try to go as like deep as possible in terms of getting to understand my client, in terms of what are their life looks like and what's their overall interest. And then I try to combine this one with my overall brand and like my overall aesthetic in terms of photos, in terms of what is written on my website, in terms of what what weddings I want to shoot in the future, and try to align that and bring that in like one big bowl of like, okay, I have these photos. These photos are showing a Chanel bag with like a table setting that's somewhere in Tuscany, and my dream client always has Chanel bags in their closet. And then I have like this match, and then you can do it with so many different things. It could be the type of wedding dress that you show in an ad. It could be the type of um, people that you show in an ad. Because if you are planning to do, for example, a lot of weddings from couples who live in Asia, and you just have ads running with like people who are living in Europe or in the US and are not Asian, that could be not working as good as if you would have Asian people in your photographs saying, I photograph Asian couples getting married in Europe, for example. And if you think about this like whole bucket of things, you came up with like a lot of ideas and ways to make your ad better, because you always think about what does my dream client look like and what they are willing or what they wish to see in terms of an ad. There's a funny story. Um, you see on 3 photos is an Instagram account linked, which is not mine. It's the one from Laura Maturek. She's my lovely colleague, and we did a lot of weddings together, helping each other out. And there's this funny story of us being in Lisbon at the Way Up North event, and we just went to a supermarket grabbing drinks. And in the front of the supermarket, there was like a shelf with a lot of magazines, and then a background as well. And we split each other, and then I just saw this one magazine with that one cover laying on that shelf, and I was like, I need to show that to Laura because it's so cool. And then just like try to find Laura. I found her, and she had like the exact same magazine in her hands with like, I wanted to show you this. Yeah, I want to show you this as well. And that's what I mean by finding matching interest to then try to pinpoint them in your advertisement to then reach your perfect clients, because whatever, for example, I like, I kind of know that my clients likes as well. And if we see something we like, we are more interested in it than, for example, if we see something that we kind of like. And as close as you can get to finding those things your clients like, the better your ads can perform and the better reach you can get because they're actually interested in it. One quick tip that I can give you: ask your past clients about your favorite photographs on your website. If you have your dream client, or if you had a client that you say, okay, I love this client, they had like an amazing wedding, they were so lovely, the types of people that I want to work with, ask them what was like the selling point in terms of branding, in terms of what did I say? Did I do something special to you that like got you to the point of booking? What kind of photos do you like? What photos stand out in my whole portfolio for you guys? And then you can try to advertise these photos to other clients, because as like often we say, yeah, we are all different individuals and like everyone has their own life. Like in the base, we are kind of similar if we have the same interests.
Yeah, I love this hack.
Alex?
Like your
Okay.
clients, especially like, yeah, what kind of photos? Like showcase what you want to attract. Yeah,
Can
Alina.
I chime in? I have a question because I want to break it down, and I love the point about pinpoints, what attracts your client, understanding the client, because usually what we listen to our members, they say, oh, it's a Tiffany, like the big brands. Let's just break it down because it's not only big brands. Let's leave Tiffany alone, please. And I love, Alex, how deep you dive into understanding. So, okay, it can be bags, it can be destinations where they travel. What else it can be? Those pinpoints, just to give directions, where else to describe, what else to think and consider in describing the client.
Yeah. So if we just like leave the big fashion brands or like the big bridal brands aside, we can go into obviously vacations, interest in terms of maybe sports, hobbies, interest in terms of aesthetic styles, interest in terms of like knowledge and wisdom, what those kinds of people have in common. Do they have a specific degree, for example? Are they having specific topics that are really important to them? Are they maybe very political interested? Obviously the types of dream locations, what kind of Instagram influencers are they following? How is there like a way to kind of combine that in an ad of like showing a specific aesthetic that aligns with the aesthetic of like a special influencer who then if they see that they're just like familiar with it, because every time we are also familiar with something, we kind of think, okay, we know that. That would like be the things that I have in mind now.
Great, thank you.
But in terms of like the directing, because I do a lot of ads and I cracked the code for the UK. I'm very happy. I spent £4 yesterday and I got 3,000 books. So yeah, I'm happy with where I'm in the UK. But in terms of like directing, creating the ads, I understand how you say about the assets, about what you use media wise and how you use your imagery to actually match those clients. And there's more part on the converting of the ads. You know, people are gonna see them, gonna like it. But when you create your audience, I think it's one of the questions I put in the chat yesterday. When you're targeting on meta ads, they started, I think, beginning of the year, they started really cracking down on what you can and cannot target on Facebook ads. So before, I don't know if you guys know, but you could exclude audiences. You cannot do that anymore because of I don't know, whatever reason they say now, but you cannot do that anymore. So it's getting harder and harder to actually pinpoint exactly who you want to target. And I know you touch bases on like influencers they follow and all of that, but though that's quite good, it's not actually practical, because when you go on Google Ads and you put interest like an influencer, you can actually use that as a targeting. There's no like, I have tried influencers before, and unless you actually go with like big names in modeling or actresses, it's very difficult to actually use that as targeting. You cannot target direct names of influencers. So I got the point of the traveling, because you can put on Google Ads that you want to target people that are frequent international travelers. That's a very, I have another one with me, that's why I couldn't join. So you can put international travelers. That's one that is very easy to focus. People that usually travel internationally, they, apart from the Europe, because Europe is also a tricky one. Everyone in Europe, whatever class they are, they always international travel. So that doesn't really cut. Yeah, they travel. They don't. It doesn't really cut.
Our laptop gone.
So it's very difficult to actually pinpoint who is wealthy based on international travel in Europe. It's very difficult to do that. So brands. What kind of brands do you actually put on the ads, or what kind of other things? Because you can narrow down a lot. So you can start with people that have interest in like Vogue, Tatler, fashion blogs, because that's an easy one to put on and already kind of narrows people they are more fashion forward. And then you can narrow that further with international travelers, and that's a good point because in the US especially, that does lean a bit your audience, because if you are in the US to travel abroad, it does take you to put some money in. But apart from those 2 points, is there any like practical advice on how you can target or narrow further your audience to get that particular client? Because I'm really struggling with the US. I cracked to the UK, but US, I'm not reaching the right people. And since they limited excluding audience, I'm really struggling to narrow down. And you cracked the code, so I'm really looking forward to hear like the practical, like what can you actually put in the ads. And I'm gonna have to get my video and audio out because my child is going crazy, so sorry about that.
Okay, I think I got your question. So to answer the first part in terms of like getting inspiration from like famous influencers or famous fashion brands or whatever, of course you can't like directly target a specific influencer. But what I like to do then is to narrow down these pinpoints of the location, the wardrobe style in terms of fashion, their interest, as you already mentioned, in terms of like fashion magazines or targeting Tiffany's or Chanel or Cartier, because every individual person has like different brands that are kind of like their favorite ones. So for example, there could be a bride who's like her favorite brand is Hermes. So, and then you have like a different bride who says, okay, nothing beats Cartier. And if I think about my ads, I try to find the most common but also niched interests to combine them in a way so that Meta knows, okay, there's a person who's interested in Hermes, Cartier, who travels to the Côte d'Azur during summer, who's a frequent traveler then, who's interested in Vogue, who maybe has a specific job title that comes with all of these interests. Usually, maybe she's a creator on her own on Instagram and has like a fashion blog or whatever, or is modeling for whoever company. And it's also newly engaged. And then you get like all of these interests and try to let Meta know that you like all of these interests in like your dream client. And like the main target is, okay, they also need to be engaged. I think that should answer your question in a way, if I'm not mistaken.
Alex, I see some people also raising hands, but how do you feel? Just keep presenting and sharing your deck and then do Q&A?
Yeah, I have like maybe 2 or 3 slides.
Okay, okay.
so long
Let's
that
just,
we
yeah,
could,
let's just
questions.
go with your structure and then we will have enough time for everyone to ask
Q&A.
questions.
Yep.
Yep. So we quickly touch base on this one in terms of like creating your first campaign and what you can look out for. Obviously, there are the main ones like country, cities, gender, age, interests, and demographic info. Obviously, everyone has like their own dream client avatar, as we should all do in the Fall in Love course that we create this one. And you can already start with like these metrics in terms of what we have done in the course to filter that through Meta and then just start to process from there in terms of finding maybe other cities that work, maybe finding a specific age group in a specific gender. So, for example, usually it's women, and then you just try to find your specific age group that you know, okay, most of my brides are in between the ages of 28 to 38, and then you already have like your scale in terms of the age for your ads. And then you can also look into the metrics after a while, seeing, okay, are there maybe a few clients who are over the age of 38 or under the age of 38? And how are their weddings being celebrated? Is that something that I want to do in the future? Because maybe you could say as older, like as a bit older the people are, the more financial freedom they got throughout their life, so they can spend maybe more money on their wedding. And that's like kind of all things that you then need to think about in terms of when creating the ad of like what's your dream result and what you have learned and what you think you know in terms of your dream client if you created your dream client avatar. We already touched bases on the interests in the last slide in terms of targeting specific interests like fashion, Chanel, the frequent travelers, and stuff like that. And also the demographic info, for example, engaged as like a demographic info. And yeah, we can go to the next slide. Hopefully I don't like run over the time by this slide because understanding the metrics in terms of reach, clicks, cost, and leads is very important. And now there's a VESP. Oh, wait. And that can be sometimes a bit complicated when looking into your ad campaign to try to understand what works and what not, because each ad campaign can have a different result just by maybe the time frame you just run it, for example, during the high season or during the low season in terms of booking. And there are different options in terms of if you just do one ad, then it's pretty easy to understand if this ad is performing or not, because you can just look at the numbers and see, okay, I spent 100 euros on this one ad, and it got this many reach, and we have so many clicks, and from these clicks we have so many leads. For example, you get 25% of your reach is clicking your ad, and from the 25% who click through the ad and saw your website and just looked through there, you only got like, let's oversaturate it, 0.5% of leads. Then you know that your ad in general is probably performing good, but something on your website is off so that people are not willing to send an inquiry over to you. And then you just start to do like the whole process in terms of matching your dream clients with everything that you do online, and just try to implement that on the website as well to give them this like natural flow and like kind of let them feel at home whenever they see something, either way, your ads online or then clicking through to your website, and don't be like, okay, this one looks completely different now from what I have like maybe thought about when seeing the ad, and was like, okay, now I open this website, and then they have like a picture in mind of what they are willing and expecting to see. And if this one is not matching with your ad, then that also can mean that your leads are not as high in terms of the percentage as they could be if you look at like the overall ad campaign in terms of the general success metrics. That would also play into the next point of analyzing the whole campaign, because if you only have one ad running, then you just look at that one ad. But there could be a scenario of you doing 3 to 4 different visual ad creatives, and each of these ad creatives can have a different role within the whole ad campaign. I will give you a quick example. You could have an ad, usually that's slideshows, so a video, that has a lot of reach. You spend less money and get like a lot of reach from it. So people see your ad for the first time. And then you have the second ad who gets less reach as the first one, but you get a lot of clicks. And then you have the third visual that gets even less reach, even less clicks, but all the leads go onto this specific ad. And then you have like this pyramid of like niching it down in terms of Meta is playing the first video, the slideshow, the video with like a lot of reach to all new people who Meta thinks could be working for you. Then the second one is also played on their feed or in the stories or whatever. And then people are interested in it because they saw the first one and be like, okay, this one also is interesting for me. I will click it and watch through the website. And then they are gone. They click it maybe again in like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, or the next day or the next week. And then you have the third one, who's like your absolute banger in terms of performancing the conversions in terms of the lead, because that's the one that people are convinced by to go on your website, and click to the inquiry button and like send you an inquiry over, because they got through the whole process of, okay, who is this one? Who's this person? What are they doing? Okay, just saw it, not interested at the moment, I don't care. Okay, there he is again. Okay, I really like this photo. Let me check it out. I like it. I was like kind of impressed or like interested at the first time, but not like so much that I would press on like the button in terms of opening whatever side then I will see. Then you have the second one who then will be convincing them to press the ad. And then after looking through your website, maybe for like 2-3 times, they see the last one, and then it's like, okay, I saw the website, I like it. This photo I like also. This would be something that I want to have captured on my wedding. And now I will send over the inquiry to him, because they got like through the whole process with Meta, in terms of Meta knowing which ad then could be your lead generation ad, which ad could be your reach ad, and which ad could be giving you a lot of clicks in terms of getting people on your website and really interested in you. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Speaking of like optimizing your campaign, we have also like this metrics of like niching things down and trying to find out what works and what not. Because, for example, if you target the whole US, for example, in your ad campaign, Meta will just run ads to each major city and to each like small city in the US. And after a while, you can then just look into those metrics and be like, okay, Houston, Texas is performing very well as San Francisco and Philadelphia. But for whatever reason, New York is getting less and less money in terms of budget, which then means for you that you know that these specific ads and like the whole ad structure is not really working in the US wedding market. Either way, if you want to target people who are getting married in the US or traveling abroad to getting married, for example, in Europe. And then you could optimize your campaign by just removing those specific regions and cities who are not performing well. Because even though Meta doesn't spend money on it, it's still within Meta's algorithm. So the more you gave Meta to like juggle around at the same time, the more difficult it is sometimes for Meta to even then process your ads and your whole campaign on the specific locations that are already working for you. And if you then remove the ones that you are seeing no results in, you still get like the same money and like budget variation on each working city. But during the fact that Meta doesn't have like in the background the whole other cities down there that didn't working, I found out that then like the ads usually perform a bit better, because yeah, Meta has just like concentrated on, okay, this one is working, we know this one is working, so I will keep pushing ads to the Philadelphia market, to the Los Angeles market, or to the Texas market. Also, in terms of optimizing, we also touched base on it earlier, is every time you analyze something, you need to analyze it from like the beginning of. So I will never, for example, get into analyzing an ad and just like analyzing, for example, the cities who are working and who are not working. Because maybe a city is working, but in terms of like clicks and it gets you leads, but the type of leads or the type of clients that come with those leads are not your dream clients. And then there is no point in it to, even though it works, give Meta the money and like the freedom to put your ads into those specific markets if you don't like the results, because you always have to keep in mind what's my end result, what's maybe my dream client, and how do I niche it down every time you analyze and try to optimize your ad campaign. And one also important thing is to, even though you have an ad that's maybe good in terms of giving you conversions and giving you clicks because people like it, there's always the next big thing. You can always get, for example, an ad that gives you, if 100 people see your ad and you get like 35 clicks on it, there is an ad that you can create that would give you 50 clicks at 100 people, but you need to find it. And then that comes to testing out, always trying to analyze it and try to find out maybe new photos, new ad copies, new headlines, to really find those magical ad. And once you found it, you can just leave it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you can go back to the process and just like do the whole thing over and over again, because the market evolves, the trends evolves, everything changes each day. So you need to also be like every time up to date in terms of, do I have a new photo that's more recognizable for my clients? Do I can change the ad copy because maybe specific words are like completely bombarded on the ad market because everyone types in timeless, everyone types in editorial, and then you need to find new ways to get the same point across with different words so that people will be like, okay, this one is new, it's fresh, and I don't like get bored of it because it's the 115th ad that I saw of like a boat at Lake Como saying timeless editorial wedding photography. And if you get your ads in those specific spots with your words that are they're fresh and they're like engaging, you have a higher chance of like outperforming your competition in terms of who ads are going to be clicked and who's not. We can go to the next slide.
Actually, Alex, before you proceed, I also wanted to build on that. I feel like to the point of creating like different ads and always finding the one that will perform better than your last one. Whenever we start an ad campaign, we normally upload at least 10 variations of the same ad for just one campaign. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 30, 50, or like 100. So like the point here is that you're creating a lot of different variations for the algorithm to test, and then it will really quickly find the one that's performing best out of all of them. You don't have to like go as far as like we do, but it's a great practice to not just start one ad, but let's say like test 2 or 3 or 5 things against each other with like small variations to see which one performs better. And this will help you this helps you build on and iterate and find that perfect ad that will perform best for you. Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Whenever you want to say something, just jump in. One little disclaimer as well, and then I'm like done with my presentation, is be ready to be on your phone 24/7 because you will always check your ad campaigns. You will be like, okay, it's almost midnight. My ad is running for like 24 hours now. Let me see the numbers. And then you go in next morning after your ad runs for like, I don't know how long you sleep, 8 hours, 9 hours. You will be like first thing in the morning, checking your ad account, being like, how many clicks do I got? How many money was spent? Did I overspend? Is it working? Is it not working? And you do that every single time. Also get ready for mood changes because you get like this high in terms of like emotions and energy if you get a lead in, if your ad campaign is like looking good in terms of performance. And it can be very frustrating if you then never change anything, but it worked in the past. And then, for example, it didn't work like next morning, it didn't work. And then it can get very frustrating because you then be like, I didn't change anything and it works like 24 hours ago, it worked. Why the hell is it not working now? And then you need to go into this whole analyzing and looking at the metrics process again and just like either way find things that you can optimize or go back to the point of trusting the process, never touch a running system just because it like didn't perform for like 3 or 4 or 5 days. It's still probably a high chance that it will perform again because it's never like this one line of like always increasing. You have like this, you get a high, then you get a low, then you get like a bigger high, then you get a longer low, and you get like a smaller high again. And that's like one thing that I experienced, which is yeah, just like having these mood changes, and as well as just thinking about every time, how do I improve it? What's wrong? Even though sometimes it's not in your hands to kind of find the solution, because it's just like, for example, in terms of booking seasons, in terms of Meta changing some algorithms, and that's why your ad is not performing as well as before, because Meta changed something in the background or is updating something, and then all of a sudden your metrics are not like working anymore until they change it again, and then it works again, and then they change something in terms of the whole structure, in terms of the exclude different people or different groups, and then you don't have this feature anymore, and then you'll be like, okay, what the fuck do I do now? So yeah, if you like willing to do that, you need to be like curious about the fact that yeah, there comes a lot of downside with it in terms of sometimes mental health issues.
But with everything, Alex, actually,
Yeah.
everything you start and you put effort, it can be very disappointing or it can be very encouraging. So whatever you do, just start doing.
It will give you
Question
insight,
before I will before we will start the Q&A session. I don't think you mentioned the budget, but the budget usually is the biggest question. Like, what is the average budget? What's the starting budget? What is the test campaign budget? So that's going to be pretty insightful for everyone.
Okay, so usually it all depends on like your own budget in terms of how many bucks you have in your bank, because you should never overspend your own cash flow just to create ads. That would be like the same thing going into this casino with like $100 and saying, okay, I will put everything on red, and if I win, I have $200, and if I lose, okay, then I lost. So please never be so yeah, what's the word? Like excited about your ads because they performed, and then you'll be like, okay, I will overspend this month and it will work. And if it then didn't work, then you just overspend your budget and you have like lost maybe a few hundred euros or like even €1,000, and you didn't get the results because you just were like so excited and just like completely overspend your budget. So always keep in mind your own budget and how many you have for each month in terms of, okay, I have 25% of like my monthly income to spend on ads, then that's like your starting point. And if you only have 5 or if you only have 10, that's also your starting point, because as long as you start and as long as you practice it and as long as you learn from it, you grow from it. And that's why I can't really give you like an exact number in terms of perfect budget to start with, because it's the same way with like investing. The sooner you start, and even though if it's like with less money, the faster you can grow and the faster you can learn. So it all depends on trying to figure out what's like my overall budget and how do I can spend it maybe at a longer period of time. So for example, if you have 200 euros to spend on ads, then you could think about maybe doing 10 euros a day to get an ad campaign that you can run for 20 days, and then in those times try to analyze and find out if it works and what you can improve for the next 200 euros that you spend for also another 20 days, for example.
Yeah, I feel like I will also build on what Alex said. The North Star here is just whether it pays off for you or not. So like you have your own price that you charge for bookings. You have a part of it, let's say like 20 or 30% that you're ready to dedicate to ad budget. And then basically, let's say you're charging your couples 10,000 euros on average. That means that you would want to secure a booking at 2 or 3,000 euros. Let's say that's your math. And then from that 2,000 euros, how many leads do you need to actually make it to a booking? So it's a pretty simple math that breaks down from the end of the funnel to the beginning of the funnel. Yeah, just try to apply that, and you'll figure out how much you're ready to spend for your next test.
Yeah, on that budget thing, what I usually do is I calculate my cost of acquisition. So how much it costs me to book a wedding based on my ads. And as long as it makes sense for how much I charge for a wedding, my cost of acquisition, I know I can put more money in or less money in. If my cost of acquisition for a booking is getting too high, it's time to pause it, see what is wrong in my, not just the ads strategy, but the overall strategy from booking leads to conversion, and work, because it is a chain, isn't it? It's not just getting the leads, it's actually convert them to a booking. But this is how I'll calculate, okay, not just the leads I'm getting, okay, this is how much it costs per lead. It's very easy to see on your ads, but it's calculating the whole path
Funnel.
of action. It costs me this much, is 5% of what I actually make out of my wedding. Okay, yeah, that's brilliant. And depends on how much you charge per wedding, of course.
So
When-
Ivana, what's the percentage that's comfortable to you?
I'm not sure percentage, but for example, for UK weddings, I am on the 3.5K market now. For me, the cost of acquisition right now, well, previous to my latest ad was around £100. So I had to invest £100 in ads to get a 3.5 grand wedding. My latest ad, I literally yesterday I put a new ad out on a different kind of template for my first round of acquisition, an acquisition of audience, and I literally just put, I think it was £7 yesterday, and I made a 3.5 grand booking yesterday on the same day booked. So that was brilliant. But it's not it's not a one client thing. So you need to calculate over a period, because yes, you might be lucky on one day, but overall on the week, how much did you put in and how much you get out?
Yeah, how much? Yeah,
For me,
leads.
it's weekly. I don't do weekly, I do monthly, because things are very fluctuate a lot. As Alex said, it's crazy. Once you get hooked into it, it's very difficult to manage the expectations, but you can get a massive big week and like, wow, a lot of bookings, and you can find a second week with the same ad, same strategy, same everything. It's a bit slower. So I would recommend, for me, what works is doing monthly. So I'm very grounded. I don't get too excited or too sad about results until the month closes.
Okay, thank you, Ivana. I think that there are like several more people and we have 5 minutes left. So
Let's click to the last slide, the Q&A.
There.
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Q&A.
And I think the
Actually,
Coco
let
was
me
the
take
first
it
one.
down.
And I saw Coco already put
Yeah.
all some questions in the chat. So yeah. Coco, thank you for your patience. Now it's time to shine.
Thank you very much. And actually, what I wanted to ask you is about what kind of, you said like that you are doing some slideshows with your photos to make an ad. Do you do any different things like doing the scenes, behind the scenes videos, or do you do carousels, or what should it be actually an ad? And how about the copy? You said, okay, it's very individual, but how long should it be? I mean, I've heard a lot of things, and then I tested in the last 1-2 months some ads, because Google does not performing at all the last months, and I even haven't got like clicks. So yeah, that's actually my question. How should it look like? How many images do BDS or some kind of other videos if you're a photographer?
Yeah. So also going back to the point, totally depends on what kind of client do you want to be targeting at. Because if you, for example, have a photo that you know that your clients love, because sometimes you have like in your consultation calls, like they say, okay, I really love this photo that you took with this bride. I really love it. If I can get something similar to this on my own wedding, then I would be happy. And then like that's your first pinpoint in terms of, okay, maybe I should try this specific photo to see if it's working or not. And in terms of like slideshow and everything, going back to the point that Alex mentioned, is trying to do different variations of it. It could be like in terms of saying, okay, wedding photography across Europe, and you just make a slideshow and you put it in the center of the slideshow. And then like each image will be like changed after like a second or 1.5 seconds or like half a second, and you will get like these image changes, and you put the text in the middle of the ad. Then you can do the same variation with putting it at the bottom, and you can do the same variation with putting it at the top. And then you could also look into, does the text sometimes overlap the key scenario of the image? Because you never want to have the text over, for example, the visual expression of like the bride smiling or the groom crying, because then people can't see that, because like you have the face and like over the face is the text, and then you didn't win anything. So then the best part would be to have the face shown in your ad and just put the text, for example, at like chest height, to be sure that people can recognize the visual and also combine it with the text that you typed into your ad. In terms of length of ad copy, completely individual, and it could like variate from like month to month, because sometimes you have clients who never look at the ad copy and just like press the link. Then you have couples who are really engaged into your ad copy and be like, hey, I want to know as much information upfront as possible about this person and what they are doing. And then sometimes you have clients who would be like, okay, he does weddings in Europe, he does this style, and then you have like a lot of other text in there, but they never will read it. The only thing how you can know about that is asking your clients who got through your ad campaign funnel to ask them about what they were doing, because otherwise you can't really know, because you can look into the metrics at Meta and see, okay, I have 3 different ad copies, and ad copy A didn't perform at all, and number 2 performed a bit better, and the best one was number 3. But you never know if it just was the headline of the ad copy, if it was the whole text, or if it was just was like a few specific words or a few specific sentences in that whole ad copy. Yeah, and that's like the only thing that you need to talk to your clients to about, because they got through the funnel and they know, because yeah, they just experienced it.
Okay,
It
thank you,
helped.
Alex. Yeah, if I think we're ready to take one more question. If anybody wants to turn on their camera and mic and ask it, that would be great. If not, we'll take one of the questions from the chat.
I guess we can take one of the chat from the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Alex, if you had a moment to catch up with the chat, or you've been busy presenting, but maybe another Alex, you can pick a question that more relatable to everyone, I would say.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I love the question about the seasons. Do you see like what is the high booking season for you and what's the low season? Just to also to account for it when you're running ads.
Allocate money.
Okay. We need to first of all look at the type of ad that you want to run and the type of client that you want to achieve, because destination weddings, for example, from couples from Australia or from the US who are getting married in Europe, are usually a year in advance in terms of like processing the whole part of vendors and everything. So if you would say, okay, we're now looking at the 2026 wedding season, I saw a high during April and May, which is like kind of a year, maybe a year and 2 months in advance, depending on like their specific date and month of the year. And then I can't really tell this year because we didn't got so far in the year, but for last year, for the 2025 booking season, I also saw a big high in the September, October, and November time periods, and then some like last minute decision makers during April for the already like started year.
So
Okay, yeah.
the fall is gonna be like the highest season. That's the answer. Yeah, the simple one. Okay. Anything
Sounds
else?
great.
I see like so many questions. I don't know, Alex, do you have any preferences that maybe
Yeah,
like
we
one
can
more?
take the last one and we have to
Yeah.
wrap up our session. 2 Alexes. I see that Alex is reading. Okay, guys. Last question and we
Trying to
wrap
pick
up.
the best one.
There are too many.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
Alex, do you
Alex
run
agrees
A/B
to-
tests? Like, do you compare things
I
to
was
each other?
looking at the same question from Kim.
Yeah.
I do, but not in a way probably Meta wants me to do it. There is a feature called A/B testing in the ad manager, but I never touched it. When I try to test different campaigns, I just let one ad run in, look at the results, and if this ad then like starts to perform less, I then change it and compare it with the old one after the new one also got less views or less engagement. Because then I have 100% like control over what I have changed, and then I know what I have changed. And I can like look at it with like a blank canvas in terms of, okay, I changed the age group from 24 to 38, for example, to 26 to 40, for example. and I played around with 2 different cities because I saw a bit of engagement in the last campaign before they dropped down, and then I will test this one with the new campaign, and then after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I will just compare both to each other and like get the best out of these both ones and put it into a new one, and then I will split it again, put it into a new one, split it again, and put it into a new one to narrow it down each time.
Yeah, that sounds really extensive.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys
Sounds
can, you can always do it like Alex does, but there's also just letting you know there's a feature on Facebook where you can just run a couple of ads against each other. Facebook will randomly split your audience and show it simultaneously to different people so that you can always like compare it. But the only downside to it is that you'll have to increase the budget for your test for how many ads you have. So like if you have 2, it's double the budget. If you have 3, it's triple the budget and so on. So yeah, just be mindful. It's there. You'll find it on Facebook in the Facebook Ads Manager.
All right.
So
Thank
with that,
you, Alex.
yeah, it's time to send the Alex the hearts and thank yous. And yes, because this was very insightful session. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Alex, for sharing your insights. And thank you, Alex from WebVibes, for also
WebVibes,
sharing
Alex,
some of
for-
your expertise. Yes,
For
okay.
making this session
The
happen.
compliments are coming your way.
Yeah. All right. Again, Alex, thank you so very much. And I'm so glad that we've met through our course and you cracked the code. And I believe that, as I promised, if you guys listened or if you have a little experience, you can apply at least one insight that Alex shared today and see how it goes. And yeah, probably during the high season, you will make it work.
Thank you guys for having me, and thank you for all the hearts in the
Alright.
chat.
Okay. So we
Yep.
will share the recording with everyone and see you in the next live session. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Danke. Thank you. Bye.